Hey guys, let's get into this delicious maple rum ribs. So I have some side ribs here and I've trimmed off the excess fat. Nothing's wrong with leaving on, a little fat on there. So I'm just gonna pat dry. And what we're gonna do is baste it with some maple syrup, some real Canadian maple syrup. Usually I'd use some mustard, but because I want that maple flavor, I'm trying to get some, some extra maple in there. So we're gonna just brush on the maple syrup all over. So after we've brushed on the maple syrup, we just need to add some seasoning. So I have a mixture of spices. I will leave all the details in the description box below the video. So you just need to click on that down arrow beside the video title and it will open up the description box. So we're just gonna rub that seasoning into the ribs. So I'm doing the underside first, then I'll flip it over and then I'm gonna add the rest of the seasoning. You wanna press it in and rub it into the ribs. What I'm going to be doing is this time I'm going to be seasoning it and just wrapping it in the foil and leaving it overnight. If you have any reservations about using aluminum foil, you can always put it in a large baking dish if you have one that's as long as the ribs, or you could put it in some parchment paper or cling wrap. But I'm just going to be seasoning it and leaving it overnight in the foil wrap. So the next day, all you need to do is just put it straight into the oven. And I'm not too concerned about leaving it in the aluminum foil overnight because I'm not using any ingredients that are super acidic. So it'll be just fine. I mean, for me, it's fine. So we'll get this all seasoned up. So seal this up nicely and then the next day you'll be good to go. That seasoning will have soaked right into the ribs. So the next day when you're ready, you can do this in your baking sheet or in a baking dish if you prefer. But I don't have a baking dish that's that long. So we're going to put it on the cookie sheet and put it in the oven at 275 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 hours. So while the ribs are in the oven cooking nice and slow, we're going to make this really easy maple rum glaze. So I'm starting off with some oil and we're going to cook some garlic. You could add a little ginger too if you want to, finely minced. So just cook this until it's fragrant. Then we're going to go in with the other ingredients. So we're going in with some apple juice first. And we're going to add some rum as well. Then some Worcestershire sauce. We're also adding some ketchup and honey mustard. Then some really good Canadian maple syrup. This is not pancake syrup, this is real Canadian maple syrup, really delicious. So just keep stirring this over medium heat. We're going to go in with some ginger powder and some cinnamon powder. Then in goes some apple cider vinegar. Just to thicken this up a bit, I'm going to add a slurry. So usually a slurry is just cornstarch and water, or flour and water. So this time I'm using some apple juice and cornstarch. Whisk that in quickly so it doesn't lump up, and then just simmer this over the medium heat until it gets nice and bubbly and definitely thicker. Then once you cook it for at least a minute, you can take it off the heat. If you want to, you can add a splash of rum at the end here again. So the ribs were cooking really slowly in the oven, so they are nice and tender. So we're just going to open up the foil. You can tell that some of the meat is already falling off the bone. So all we need to do now is to put on that sauce. So you can just brush on that sauce all over. Some people just put it on the flesh side, like the top here, but you can put it all over. And what we're going to do is put it back in the oven. The ribs are cooked, but we just need the sauce to stick to the meat. So you can either put this under your broiler in the oven for a few minutes, or you can do 10 minutes at about 450, and then put some more sauce on, put it back in the oven for another 10 minutes at 450, and you'll be good to go. So brush on the sauce, the top side or all over, put it in the oven under the broiler so the sauce can caramelize, or turn up that heat to 450 and put it in the oven for 10 minutes, then take it out, brush it again, and put it back in the oven for another 10 minutes. This is just to get the sauce to stick to the ribs and caramelize, because it's cooked already. Okay, the ribs are perfectly cooked already, but that's it. Look at this delicious ribs. Oh my gosh, so good. And the maple rum flavor, really nice, guys. I love my barbecue ribs, but this was amazing. So let me know how it turns out for you once you give it a try. I'll see you next time.